Alright, good evening everybody, System Chalk here with the 48th episode of Cultist Simulator, our Librarian run playing as Ivan Vucetich, the detective. And we got quite a bit done yesterday, so we wound up letting Connie Lee go free. We got rid of Spencer Hobson. I think Zachary Wakefield and Natalia Dragon have already been dealt with. If I recall correctly, Rhaenyra took care of them, and so when we do have another investigator, I suspect it's going to be the Weary Detective. We're dealing with the Season of Visions, but that's going to settle itself because of the restlessness turning into dread. We've got an intensity of radiance, which will turn into fascination, but the Season of Visions will have passed by then, which will give me a fleeting reminiscence that I can clear that out with. And then we want to try and bring in our hires into the cupboard. I've got 29 seconds to do that. It depends on how long Saliba's abduction is going to take, which we will find out in just a second. And then I do have my Port Noon anecdote, but I'm holding back because if that troublemaker cleans out Port Noon, I'm going to be so sad. Okay, this will buy their loyalty for now. 30 seconds, so we're not going to be able to make anything of that. A bit of a shame, but hey. Them's the breaks. Last night in the Mansis I visited the Mallory, from whose fires one does not emerge unchanged. The forge's light fell upon me, and my heart boiled, and when I woke my blood burnt within me, so that I had to shed it in a cup before it overwhelmed me, and lo, 10 drops of it were not blood exactly, unless it be the blood of the sun. Perhaps I found the cup, perhaps I found the cup, and the blood is not mine, the forge seer's memory. So as always, we need a second here to think about what we want to do. I don't see me doing anything with Dream for the next minute other than going to the spider's door, so I'm going to do that. I think we might as well... Well, I got 20 seconds, so let's see what the next season brings. Actually, no. That's silly, because if I have to get rid of the troublemaker, that's actually gonna cause me more trouble than it's worth. It is a little bit of a shame that I had to use this library so early, because I am gonna have to juggle the professional muscle, but that's life. Okay. Fleeting reminiscence on the consciousness of radiance, but I don't think I need to worry about any dread coming up. My minion is returned, attended by a prisoner rendered docile with delight. I think I'm going to use Saliba again. I've got 88 seconds. No, I can't. Nuts. Okay. I actually need to rehire the professional muscle, so. We'll just stare at each other in the library and... Not even the library. Stare at each other in the cafe and then... Saliba can head on his way. This is a puzzle with missing pieces. I might find those pieces in odd corners of scholarship. Okay, so there's the fascination again. We can get rid of that, so... No big worries there. The spider door gapes. Last night in the Mansis I visited the Mallory, from whose hammers and crucibles one does not emerge unchanged, and for 9 beats my heart ceased while it entered the fires of the forge, and the passions of the forge entered into it. I woke with the dawn, and its poor divided colors inspire memories of the forge's passion for the sun, of the vagabond's curse, of the Grail's deep longing. So many half-memories. So just remembering here, we need a second Vagabond's map to move this up to a Port Noon anecdote, and then we need another Vagabond's map before we can get the wreck of the Cristobal. So we are very, very close. I just need one more unresolved ambiguity, and then we're on the path. At that point, I basically don't need any more unresolved ambiguities. Just to be clear, I don't need any more unresolved ambiguities in order to get the Frangiclave. I will still need unresolved ambiguities to be able to check out the rest of the locations, because again, we go to locations so that I can get books. But And I do want to reorganize the desk. I kind of want to reorganize the desktop to try and work out the different tomes, but I'm going to deal with that later. But let's deal with things in order. So first of all, we will get rid of the fascination. The doors of vision swing wide. A little darkness will mellow my light. Even dread has its uses. Progress. The constant clatter of closing doors, the damp stains on the station walls, the smell of boot polish and unwashed constables. All this narrows to a single crystalline truth. I've made progress and earned myself some overtime pay. It is kind of tempting to do a painting so that I can get some more glimmering, but maybe it's a little early to be getting another glimmering at this point. So I'll send the Callagine out to explore. I am eventually going to need to explore with the Port Noon anecdote, but I want to be careful. Obviously, if I mess up with a troublemaker, that can mean I lose a location. So I think I have a good way of figuring out how I'm going to work with the Port Noon anecdotes. We'll worry about that when we get there. Okay. So here we hire the professional muscle. We've got one more item for our study that's going to require the rarefied mine. Then we can get our library back. So I'm probably going to have to hire both the professional muscle and the shifty woman, and I wound up with old unhappy far off things. So what I'm going to do there, we will bring the troublemaker in, and then that'll give me a chance to paint. So the idea here is that I wanted to reset the job so that I'd have enough time to paint, and this is a safe time to do that with the troublemaker. Pausing a lot because I need the... Well, I mean, I just generally pause a lot anyway, but I need to be kind of careful with the Callagine because every second sort of counts with them right now. Alright, I think we're good to go back to the spider's door. Half-Clump's wistfulness has touched me, so... The idea here is that I'm going to be able to paint this away in more than a minute. Now, technically, I can let this fall to dread because this is going to pass, but you know, it's nice to not have to worry about a potential negative. So in this case, you know, I might as well paint it away. I may even make some money out of it. So, offer this hireling another payment. All right, same terms as before. 36 seconds. I'm thinking we have another 30 seconds to run by, but let's run out the clock on the shifty woman. I might be able to pull away the money at the last minute. Alright, my investigation has turned up no new leads, so painting time. This one's going to be a pure reputation painting. There may be some staleness, but I'm trying not to generate restlessness. Or not restless, sorry. Try not to generate fascination here. So depending on what happens in 5 seconds, if I get my headquarters back, then we can put away the professional muscle and the shifty woman. 30 seconds, I need at least to talk to them. May not need to pay them, but at the very least I need to talk to them to preserve them. Last night in the Mansis, I visited the Mallory from whose engines and avenues one does not emerge unchanged. I watched the processes of sunset, and I entered the amber joy and the white joy and the blue joy, and I was subjected to the enlightenments of calcination, and the forge of days touched me with her burnished fingers, and I rise from my bed with the utter knowledge that all nights, all nights, all nights must end. Getting a little short on sacrifices, but spend money on better paints, or perhaps I could find more exotic pigments. We'll be in good shape for food for the spider's door, though. Just need a little time. The wrong kind of attention. The city is rife with journalists and detectives and other meddlers. How long will they leave me in peace?
second Vagabond's map. So we're going to keep that there because if I make another Port Noon anecdote, this one will get erased. Now I can't move up the unresolved ambiguity yet, so what I will do is I will use... Actually, I don't even need to worry about the passion. I'm going to say you only YOLO once and throw the unresolved ambiguities again, assuming that I get a glimmering from doing the painting. Now in fairness, this is not a passion painting, so I may not necessarily get glimmering from it. I do get another old unhappy far off things because why not, right? Fortunately, I did get a glimmering, so that's a start. Okay, so seems to me like I take the inspector position, we go after the troublemaker. And hopefully we have enough time to make a painting to get rid of the restlessness. Unless I feel like I'm going to have a fascination I need to deal with. It's going to get a little dicey with the book, with the library, but I think we'll be fine. Nothing then. Okay. So Shifty Woman first, that's going to be 10 seconds. Professional Muscle next. Yeah, 30 seconds worth, we're fine. We might even be able to throw this one into the bargain. Definitely very happy to get more unresolved ambiguities. Remembering, we still want to go to the Rending Mountains. So we've done the land beyond the forest. Rending Mountains is still a location that we want to explore. So, also we need 4 Vagabonds maps. So as it is, like I'll have a 3rd Vagabonds map. This is my 4th. And yes, I'm going to be able to upgrade all of this stuff to some higher level, but like, there's a lot for me to do. So there's going to be the unresolved ambiguities, so I need those for the Rending Mountains. There's the Vagabonds maps, I'm going to need all of those for the Lone and Level Sands, and then I'm getting the Crystable because that will give me the Frangiclave. But the fact of the matter is I still have a bunch of stuff that I want to follow up on. Like Vagabonds maps are not easy to get, so the Frangiclave is really just so I can get early or easy access to the unresolved ambiguity, to be honest. There's still a lot to do. I can take the spider's door because we'll have some food in a minute. Okay, I want to make the most of this while I don't have my study verb using it. I should be able to get by with at least one more. Okay, so that's 9 seconds will be fine. This is the kind of example that can result in me losing one of my Port Noon locations. I'll have 20 seconds after to clear out the knowledge. Okay, so I'm lucky that the Troublemaker is not able to do anything, so we will use our Open Soul. This is definitely going to be a reputation painting again. Oh, but we did get some staleness, so I hate that I'm doing this, but it is actually going to be a passion painting. Okay, sent to the pages. What hungers drive me? So we'll use the reason there. I'm thinking we start using Saliba.
I don't see any reason why... I don't see any way I could use my headquarters. Yeah, so we'll talk to Saliba about getting some more people. I am disciplined. I am all discipline. I haven't lasted this long to give up so easily. And a sufficiently persuasive disciple can probably lure a susceptible companion back to us. I'm gonna have some healing that I need to do. I'll use the funds for now. Aha, there it is. Is that it? And we'll hire. Obviously, we wait until the study's done, so we'll probably have to rehire them at least once. Actually, this... Okay, so I get a fascination off of the... Sorry, I need a minute to think this through. Can't figure out where to get the dread yet, but we'll worry about that later. Okay. I know I should be reading this a little bit more, but I'm trying to make a little more progress for the week. Oh, no, we've got followers. Yeah, I think we should be able to feed the spider's door for the time that we need. It's still a bit of a slog for the the study, but I think it'll be done faster than we imagined. Okay. Use the glimmering here. Good lord, another old unhappy far-off things. Alright, well, we know what to do. My recent work has attracted a couple of callers. With luck, something will sell. Actually, I might even change it up. So contentment is nice. Glimmering is very nice. We got rid of the staleness, which is good. And there's the fascination. So, got a couple of fascination that is kind of creeping around. So I suppose the question is, if there's no dread coming up anytime soon, maybe we want to let the old and happy far-off things decay into dread so that I can use it to clean up the fascination. I think I'm going to do that. As I kind of say before, dread is actually the easier of the two, in my opinion, to deal with. Now, again, the fleeting reminiscence changed a lot, but the thing is like, basically, when it comes to dread, in very practical terms, what you're really looking for is the, you're looking for the Ecdysis Club. So it's a question about whether or not your explore verb is open. When it comes to fascination, so there used to be a way of playing the game. I never really liked this because, I mean, again, to me, I consider... This is actually one thing that's really nice about Book of Hours. I feel Book of Hours is even more of a role-playing game than Cultist Simulator. But to me, Cultist Simulator has always been sort of an RPG-ish kind of experience where I do sort of put myself into the character that I'm playing. And as a consequence, it does make me kind of reluctant to do things that are not necessarily in my interest. And I mean, there's limits to that. So, you know, depending on the endings that you're going for, these are not things that under traditional measures you would want to have happen to you, right? So like the priest demonstrates a level of conviction that I have never had about anything in my life. You know, and again, like some of the apostle victories as well. So I don't want to be too strict about it. Like there are cases in this game where there are some pretty wild things that happen to you that you probably would not wish for under normal circumstances, knowing what you get into. But again, these are games, so there is a certain point where you want to put that aside. But in the old days, I used to get a lot of people commenting on how I don't think they ever said it, but there was the implication that I was playing wrong somehow because I had so much health and I was not letting one of it fall into decrepitude. And for those of you who may be wondering why that would be desirable, you have the option with decrepitude to use decrepitude and work, and essentially what that does, that lets you beg on the streets, which can generate funds, but
it comes at the expense of generating a dread. Now, if you think of Cultist Simulator, where the only way you can get rid of fascination is through dread, certainly for me, I was experiencing a lot of losses to fascination because, you know, things don't quite go your way and you suddenly find yourself a bit overwhelmed with fascination. I can completely understand why you would want to bring about circumstances that give you some certainty in terms of outcomes. And yet, I can't really think of situations where my character would willingly, you know, hurt themselves to a point where they would willingly become just this pitiful figure where people, you know, they'll be begging for alms and generating the dread. Like, to me, that's always been a bridge too far. It's the same thing as like me not, it's the same thing as me playing the bright young thing and not going to work for Glover and Glover. It's not that I don't know about Glover and Glover, it's just I can't really imagine someone with a fairly large inheritance, you know, going out of their way to find normal employment unless that's an absolute last resort. And likewise, you know, if you're not going to go to Glover and Glover, you're certainly not going to go and do physical labor. And that's, to me, just the nice way of playing the game. But again, you can see with fascination, there is definitely a very strong argument to be made to have something that will regularly generate dread if that's going to be the only way that you can get rid of fascination. So in this case here, it's a little bit more straightforward. You know, if I get a fleeting reminiscence, which in the end will always come from a season of season of despair or season of visions passing by, we're good. As it is here, I'm just going to let this restlessness decay down into dread, and we can let the fascination clear out there. The question would be, I think I can go to the spider's door one more time. I'll have a little bit of, there'll be a little bit of overhang, but that's fine. A minion is returned, attended by a prisoner, rendered docile with delight. And we're just gonna keep Saliba on that task, at least until I get my headquarters back. So you can see, even with just the ticking of the normal. Oh, actually, this is going to get a little tricky because the affliction. I need to cure the affliction as well. I wasn't thinking. That's fine. We'll make this all work. I do want to get rid of the fascination reasonably quickly, though, just because I've got another intensity of radiance. Enough with where we're at there. I'm gonna let this pass by normally. So I'll have 30 seconds. Yeah, 2 minutes after we're able to mess around with the dream slot. We'll be fine. May want to keep an eye on the hulking fellow. An adversary. There's always someone who doesn't understand or who understands too well. This troublemaker may seek evidence on my activities to share with the authorities. This gentleman would much rather be left alone with his pipe and his illustrated London news. But no, apparently some conjurer of abominations has to be hunted down like a mad dog, and apparently no one else can find the time. I like the wary detective. Oh, actually, this is interesting. I wonder what's going to happen because I've got 2 items from the Mallory now. That answers that. We won't send King Crucible after the weary detective. I feel he's earned a little bit of He's earned a little time off. Here's an idea. Let this fascination tick by, because that might actually solve itself, and we'll use the dread on the consciousness of radiance. Just in case there's something nasty waiting for me on the other side there. Out in the night, my follower is whispering words that sometimes they might even mean. Even if their victim knows the words are lies, they may not care. Okay, we get a free turn, so we'll be fine. Shifty woman's good. So we got 30 seconds. I don't think we get this. Oh no. We'll be able to... I need to make sure that I keep the talk verb available, but we will be able to betray some followers. Let's make another row for hapless prisoners. I think, for the most part, the nightlife of the city is rather hoping that I get to this... I rather hope I get the Frangiclave sooner rather than later. So this gamble here paid off, so this is going to be dealt with on its own terms, and so the fresh fascination is going to be cleared out. Got to be careful on the pause with the hulking fellow, but we should be able to get by. Lovely. I've increased my knowledge of the secret histories behind the one we know. Now I've only got 30 seconds left on the glimmering, so that's not going to be enough. But we have the materials we need for the next level here, so... Read sentimental literature. We will pack away the hulking fellow. This one must serve another purpose now. Into the cupboard they go. Sick room grows close and stale. Time to get up. So there's a fresh fascination. We'll combine that with dread. The doors of vision swing wide. A little darkness will mellow my light. Even dread has its uses. We'll do the same to the shifty woman, and then the final hireling there. Again, generates a ton of notoriety, but we don't care. And then we'll send Saliba out to get a new victim. You know what? Makes as much sense for me to pursue. So the reason I'm pursuing them is just in case I get a indication that there's a season of I'm just thinking that there may be a season of ambitions running by, and so it frees me up to be able to pursue them immediately afterwards. Okay. No one to betray quite yet. But we do have a season of suspicion, so I will probably wind up destroying the evidence from using the Callagine. I think the wary detective has a chance of failing the... So they're not erratic, but I think there is a chance that the evidence doesn't get created. There's no guarantee we need to worry about the... Okay, 26 seconds... Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk to the Callagine as if there was evidence that I need to get rid of. We've got enough for the spider's door for the next little while. I'm fine with that, but I do want to clear out this Port Noon anecdote because we are going to need to start turning these Vagabond's maps into something. I passed the time, I've been inclined to tears and afterwards inclined to laughter. Meanwhile, the world continues. So I've got 2 glimmering to play around with here. Figure let's... work on the unresolved ambiguities rather than the vagabond. Well, I probably could have used the Vagabond's map here, but whatever. It's all going to come out in the wash anyway.
Now again, I've already said that I have what I need as far as the vagabond, or sorry, as far as the unresolved ambiguity goes, but I'm still gonna go to the spider's door. And again, that's just raw material for when I do actually need to visit all of these places. So I've hit the 30-second mark, but or sorry, 30-minute mark. Let me just take a minute here and see if we can I guess I've kind of consigned myself to always going after... Okay, well, nope, that pays off, though, because I'm... Okay, so what I'm going to do here, this is going to make things run a little bit longer, but I'm going to run through the minute, and the reason I want to do that is specifically so that I lock away the troublemaker before they can come after the Port Noon location. Across a bright far sea, Port Noon lies. Exiles, monsters, and visionaries have long favored the waters around it. Perhaps we shouldn't get too close, but it might be useful to get close enough. So unfortunately, we're going to have to leave these on the desk because we do not yet have the wreck of the Cristobal. But this place merits closer investigation. We'll read the text when we're ready to go there. I'm going to talk to the Callagine again. No more betrayals for a little while. Okay, so just as a recap, the idea here is that we've got 4.4 seconds before Season of Ambitions comes up. If we've got a free troublemaker on the desk, they're more likely to get picked up by the Season of Ambitions. As a result of that, if it's for a location, there's a 1 in 3 chance they take Fort Garrick, which is one of the more difficult locations for me to get to. And then at that point, I'm basically hoping that I can build a snare that will stop the troublemaker from being able to raid it. So it sounds like a heck of a lot less effort if I just take my inspector's position, I pursue an investigation on them, use my reason, and then I did say I was just going to do this, but I might as well, we'll just drop the other shoe. So exotic cravings, what hungers drive us. This is also kind of convenient for the next part, seeing as there will probably be a week that goes by before I record this. I'm safe for now. My adversary has not enough evidence to bring a case against me, and they found no new clues. Okay, so that's pretty significant because it means that I can use the Callagine for other things other than destroying evidence. But yeah, so now the scent of the pages, what hungers drive me. And in addition to this, I'm actually going to clear out the Callagine as well, just so I don't need to worry about the other details. I cannot forget what I saw in the file on Ivan Vucetich. I am disciplined. I am all discipline. I haven't lasted this long to give up so easily. So I wanted to put that reason in place because if I start the stream a week from now and I forget to check this, it's entirely possible I open the folder. Now, this doesn't count for the Librarian run, but I've gotten this far without opening it. It feels like such a shame not to see it through to the end, right? So that's kind of the reasoning behind that. But at this point, I think we have what we need for the playthrough. So this is actually, I wasn't really feeling at a point where I could lose. There was that point when Connie was on the desktop, so there was like a tentative evidence against us, and I was sort of using the talk verb for things that weren't really about evidence destruction. So there's definitely a way.
I feel like there's a way that could have turned against. I mean, anytime you have tentative or especially damning, but tentative evidence on the desk, you just need a couple of unlucky stacks of season of suspicion, and you may find you're in a tough spot. So I should probably be a little bit like, it's actually not that hard to generate a favor from authority, so I probably should not be as relaxed about it as I am. But yeah, all of the named hunters I think have been dealt with. I think we can manage the weary detective. It was actually the fact that Rhaenyra got rid of the weary detective is the whole reason that happened in the first place. I need to keep an eye on the season of ambitions, but overall that can't like keep us from our overall goal. Even if we wind up losing one of the major locations, which I hope we don't, I can still just go and use the repeatable location. The thing is, though, like with Port Noon anecdotes, they are the hardest to get in the game. You can never, so far as I can tell, you cannot get a Port Noon anecdote from the Mansis. You always have to either study or, well, yeah, it's basically you study from it, and the question is, what level do you study from? Like for me, originally I was thinking I would be going from Forbidden Epic all the way to Port Noon, which is a lot, right? Whereas here, at minimum, we can get unresolved ambiguities, but in reality, we're probably going to be going from Vagabond's maps. But yeah, in any case, in this case here, it's just a matter of amassing the appropriate number of secret histories. Following that, what I think I might do is I might summon a couple of fairly strong followers, just because what will be happening is we'll do quite a few expeditions sort of one after the other, and then off of that I guess I need to do a little, so there's 2 inventories that I need to take. One is going to be I've already sort of gotten where the tomes are in the various locations. That was just my chance to find out whether or not there were any other duplicates. I should maybe do a double check, like a checklist, to make sure that I've got all of the tomes. And then if I can, as a nice to have, if I get a chance to summon Azim, it would be nice because then I get a chance to read Frisian. But it's not a major consideration, let's say. But that's it. I think I wound up spending like 7 minutes talking about, well, maybe not 7, but yeah, I definitely spent a few minutes talking about the future plans. But I think in this case, we're definitely in a much more relaxed, place. And the other thing that's nice is we know we have the secret histories we need to be able to unlock the top level of the Mansis without worrying about our inability to generate Spintra. So in this case here, it's always been a matter of execution, but really here, this is just a matter of, working the plan that we already have in mind. There should not be any major surprises that come after this. It's more a matter of just making sure that I put the right things in the right places at the right time, and let things play out the way that they do. And of course, once we make it to the Wreck of the Cristobal, then we go through the Rending Mountains and so on and so forth. It's going to be like very standard expeditions. All of those, though, will happen after the weekend. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you all Monday for another entry in the Librarian challenge, or Librarian run. Take care until then.